there's something that's been popular on TikTok called Fibermaxxing. And at first, when I see all of these fad diets, I think, oh boy, here's another one. But this one really stood out because it had a simple message. And that brings me to the tips that I want to talk about for success. And tip number 1 is keep it simple and positive whenever you're trying to make changes toward better health. Absolutely keep it simple and try to look at a positive twist. So all of us know what we're not supposed to eat. Stop eating this, stop eating that. But what's the psychology going to do? If someone tells you not to eat chocolate cake, what are you going to think about? You're going to think about chocolate cake. So the thing I like about Fibermaxxing, first of all, is they talk about eating more fiber. That's a positive goal, something that you're looking to add into your diet. And it's such a simple message. Look at the fiber in food. How can you meet your needs? And little kids, even little kids, ages 1 to 3, need almost 20 grams of fiber a day. They're not coming close. And then as we reach the teen years and into adulthood, females need at least 25 grams a day, and males need up to 38 grams a day. So in general, we're looking at a range of 25 to 35 grams a day for most of us. And I bet we're lucky if we're meeting half. Now, if we continue to keep this on that positive side, we also want to bring that fiber back to the microbiome. Again, why are we doing it? We're bringing it back to really helping our gut bugs and how they're going to help us to better health as well. And so maybe in choosing those fiber foods, you might also consider that these be organic because we're trying to decrease those chemicals. And know that naturally, when you're adding in fiber, you got to make room for it, right? So maybe just as a side effect, you tend to have less ultra-processed food and lower chemicals. So then that change happens gradually and naturally. So that takes me to tip number 2, and that's making actionable steps. So tip 1, keeping it simple, adding more fiber, having it be organic. And I should be clear, what are those foods that are highest in fiber? Let's just put that on the table now. It's fruits, it's vegetables, it's beans, all types of legumes, lentils, it's whole grains, all those types of high fiber foods that are out there. And again, making that organic when you can also help decrease some of that chemical burden, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's keep that in mind. So tip number 2 is making small, actionable steps. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's add fiber. You can actually break that down further. So especially for kids, if you give them too many changes at once, they are going to rebel. And it's just going to need to be at a pace that's right for your family. So a first step might be, instead of just a general message of increasing fiber, how about adding more fruits and vegetables? How about every time you have a snack or a meal, is there fruits and vegetables or at least one or the other present? That could be a great first step. And whatever time you need to make those changes is important as well. And that does take me to tip number 3. I'm getting ahead of myself, going at the pace that's right for your family. Number 1, it's more work for whoever's doing the grocery shopping. You got to get all those fruits and vegetables back home. And then also for your family to be able to incorporate some of those changes. And then that leads me really to talking about how might you, in that pace, look at those actionable steps. It might be, let's just first look at those fruits and vegetables throughout the day. And once you get that down at the pace that's right for your family, you might say, okay, I think we're ready for another goal. Maybe let's look at increasing fiber even more at breakfast. So you might look at the grains. You might say, okay, instead of that processed cold cereal, the white bagels, the white bread, the Pop-Tarts, the Belvita biscuit cookies, Nutri-Grain bars, whatever it might be, you're going to replace it maybe with baked sweet potato fries or whole grain oats, or even leftover butternut squash or roasted potatoes from the night before, whole wheat toast that's organic. So different ways that you could just make those changes at breakfast. Then giving more time, then you get to lunch. And lunch is a big deal because there we have, especially lunches at school, those are so difficult and challenging, might need a little more time as a family to incorporate some of those changes. But some ideas might be adding bean or lentil soups in a thermos and bringing that to school. So yes, it might mean packing lunches, sandwiches that have whole grain bread, and then moving on to the next goal being snacks. Could snacks be more like apple and peanut butter or celery with the ants on the log, celery with peanut butter and raisins, or having veggie sticks with hummus? And it goes on and on. But again, you can increase that fiber gradually. You can make one change once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever pace is right. And that brings me to tip number 4. Remind yourself and your family why this is important and track your progress. So again, the why is to support our microbiome, eat better foods that support our system, but then also let's track that progress. If you remember my interview with a mother in December, she was so good about logging food changes for her 11-year-old daughter. And they were able to identify how, for them, making dietary changes really helped her change her behavior. And that was really giving that child an appropriate relationship with food, understanding how food was affecting her. And just like you as a family can also be thinking, gosh, I have better energy, or my stomach doesn't hurt as much. I can focus better. I stay filled longer. I'm not getting these blood sugar crashes because I have more fiber in my diet. I'm pooping more regularly. We always got to talk about that. So really, those are some things I think I would say be cautious about using apps that track your fiber. That can be very helpful. But unfortunately, you're also going to see the calories and you're going to see all these other statistics. And that's where that diet mindset kind of comes in. And people start thinking, oh gosh, but look at how many calories are in that food. Really, I want people to understand that it's the quality of the food that matters, really, no matter what your health goal. And more so than the calories. Always focus on the quality. That moves me on to tip number 5, and that is don't give up and don't expect it to go perfectly. So we all know that we have bad days, we completely derailed, or sometimes we even have a bad week. And at that point, some people feel, oh, you know what, had a bad week. I knew this wouldn't work. Everything's hopeless. Forget it. But why not take a step back, remember why it was important, and maybe go back to that basic goal again. Maybe you were progressing too quickly, or maybe life did get a bit busy. So when can you get back on track and kind of pick up where you left off? But really know that we have bad days, we have bad weeks, but you can keep going. And then tip number 6, if a problem arises, perhaps it's time to pivot. So I should really note that there are some people that do not do good with high fiber, especially if they have certain health conditions. That can include SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. We're not going to go through that today, but SIBO is a condition that they will react pretty badly to having too much fiber because bacteria is in the wrong place. There's also ulcerative colitis, diverticulitis, other inflammatory bowel diseases. And when there's a lot of inflammation, they need to calm that inflammation before they're adding fiber back in. There's also food intolerances. Let's say someone's adding more fiber from a grain that they didn't know they were intolerant to, and they're getting stomach aches. Any other issues, that's something to think about. So you really want to pay attention to foods that don't make you feel good as well. Sometimes it's not always progress when you make changes. And picky eating, that comes up a lot. That comes up a lot with kids. And that's why we need to be patient and not give up. Maybe first you're just allowing those types of fibrous foods that they prefer the most. And then little by little, you might increase variety. You could also seek the help of someone like myself, a functional nutritionist or other functional health practitioner or coach that could help your kids adjusting to new types of foods. Constipation is another one. If you're increasing fiber and not increasing your water, guess what? You could experience constipation. So water is an absolute must. And that is another health goal to begin with that you might have to add in there at the same time. And that's getting those 8 cups of water a day just to be sure that you have that regularity. And then finally, if you're getting kind of gassy from some of these foods, a lot of times it's because you really don't have as much of that good bacteria that can handle this good fiber. So initially, you might even have to add digestive enzymes so that these fibers can be broken down better as you restore your good type of bacteria that will eventually support you better in the long run. And finally, tip number 7, make sure the timing is right, especially in this new year. Was January 1st the best date? Did we have enough time to get back into our routine? Or maybe it's a time of year when school is just starting and we're just getting used to everything going on, or we're starting a summer vacation, or we're heading into the holidays. So no matter what, you want to look at a time that's best for your family, when you can really feel settled down and getting into your routine. But I know what you're going to say. I'm always busy. I am always busy. I get that. I really get that. So that is why that takes me back to that tip number 1, keeping it simple and going at a pace that's right for your family.